In occasion of Sachin's retirement, I thought I just create a video. I used to bowl for Rice Cricket Club. I used to be a pretty okay bowler, and this video is just to give some hints of kind of tricks that I used to use. These tricks are not going to work on a professional batsman. This will only work on somewhat of amateurs. My strategy was very simple. You just stick to your line and length, and uh, you just ball consistently in a certain area that I will tell you, and let the batsman make mistakes. Your My only focus was making sure that I conserve runs. And more often than not, people used to want to hit me, and somehow, either by their technique or by field placement, they used to get out. So again, it's quite possible that the batsmen I faced were not uh, league quality batsmen, so this used to work on them, more often than not, this kind of tricks. So first thing that's very important is sportsmanship. I used to, whenever I used to bowl, I never used to go and try to curse or intimidate the batsman. The Australian kind of sledging. I One of the reason was we used to shuffle the teams, and the batsman who is playing in this match, right, who might end up in my team then for the next match, and it just doesn't make sense to do that. And again, it just creates a bad environment. Second thing that I used to stick to was focus on every ball. Uh, we used to play once a week, so focusing on every ball means trying to utilize the every second of that game I'm playing, and it used to be fun. I used to focus on the ball irrespective of whether I'm fielding, bowling, or batting. If I'm fielding, it doesn't matter where I am, whether I'm in deep, uh, mid on, or deep square leg or somewhere. I used to just make sure that I focus on what the batsman, where the batsman is playing short, and where a given bowler is, what kind of ball he's bowling. This kind of hints helps once in a while. I'll tell you that later. So I'm just going to focus on medium pace bowling. If you're a fast bowler, or if you're a spin bowler, then the strips really don't apply to you. Uh, First thing that you need to do if you're a medium pace bowler is you need to identify what kind of action you have. Okay, there are three kind of action. Side on, which means that your chest is basically perpendicular to the batsman. So if the batsman is facing there, if you're bowling, so your chest is like this, and uh, you bowl, you know, uh, you bowl like this. Okay, so uh, what kind of bowlers are side on? Glenn McGrath is an excellent example of side on bowler. Wakar Younes is also a good side on bowler. Dennis Lilly. Uh, then the second time kind of action is front on action. Um, in front on, which I am actually, uh, you keep your chest out. So when you're bowling, you try to bowl like this. So. Uh, a good front-on bowler that I really liked was Curtly Ambrose. Andrew Flintoff is also a good front-on bowler. Okay, Malcolm Marshall is also a good front-on bowler. So the difference between side-on and front-on is side-on bowlers are really good at outswingers, and front-on bowlers are really good at in-swingers. The action assists in the swing. Okay. Then the third kind of bowling action that is pretty popular now is sling action. A common examples are Lasith Malinga, Sean Tate, and Michelle Johnson. I used uh, um, I used to try sling action once in a while, but it never used to work in my favor. Okay, but I used to just try for fun. If I know that we are winning, right, and I want to try something else, I used to try sling action, but I was really bad at it. So the second thing that you need to find out is run up. So what kind of run up you're comfortable with. Uh, your run up should not take a toll on your body. Uh, so if you believe that you need a long run up to bowl properly, you should take long run up, but make sure that you just don't take a long run up to show other people. If you're I know a few bowlers who actually take a very long run up, but in between just stop, you know, and then again start run up. So it doesn't really make sense to take that long run up if you're going to stop in between. Okay. I used to have a pretty short run up, 7 steps or sometimes even 5 steps, and I used to just focus on line and length and try to conserve my energy as much as possible. Um, so line, okay. The third thing that you need to focus is on line. So I actually used to practice. Whenever I used to practice, I used to make sure that um I used to consider the stumps, one stump next to the off stump, and so my idea was to bowl either on the off stump or a stump, an imaginary stump right to the left of it. Okay, this particular area is called as area of uncertainty. If I'm bowling on middle stumps, I used to think that I'm kind of drifting inwards. Since I was an in swinger, I used to try to bowl to either the off or a stump left, imagine a stump left to it. Because honestly, my I don't have a very good control over my swing, so I used to avoid the maximum I used to go in was middle stump, and if I'm drifting any further than that, I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so that's not what I had intended to do. I had intended to bowl on off. Okay, so uh, usually the kind of wickets that I used to get was a edge, sometimes going outward, sometimes coming inside. A lot of people used to just miss the ball completely. Yeah, it was probably because of the technique, I guess. Or leg before wicket, but we never had leg before wicket. But many people used to try and because it was an in swing, they used to try and go. They used to think that it's going to go on the off, so they used to just open the bat and it used to hit their legs. Um, Third thing is length. Um, I My natural length was around good length to overpitch, slightly overpitch. Uh, I used to I used to consider that I'm kind of bowling only three types of balls. Either I'm bowling my natural bowling. If I'm bowling my natural bowling and if I'm not thinking anything, it should land in good length and light or slightly over pitch. Okay. If I want to, you know, if I want to bowl a full toss or a Yorker, I had to kind of mentally prepare myself that what I'm going to bowl a full toss or a Yorker, and in for that I used to just change my action a little bit to make sure that my the ball releases at a different angle. If I'm the other kind of the third kind of my mentality was is your natural bowling style, or you're trying to bowl a little fuller, or you're trying to bowl a little shorter, that is short pitch. um, uh, or it's called often, you can also call it bouncers. If you're bowling a short pitch or a bouncer, uh, then you have to follow through. You have to, give your back into it. If you don't, it just stays low. And especially in rice pitches where I used to play, if you don't put your back, it it used to be a short ball, and it used to be around waist length. So people used to hit much easily. So now that's one thing, line length. So uh, Another thing is the grip. Okay, so a lot of people actually hold the common mistake that I've noticed is people try to hold it very tightly, you know, actually leaving no gap, or try to hold very loosely. Uh, if I don't actually know whether good bowlers bowl have a loose grip, but I never tried usually. Uh, I have a grip and I just stick to it. I don't try to push it very harder, or I don't try to keep it very loose. It just has to touch your finger, and it has to, if you do this right, it should not fall. That's the idea, or at least that's the idea that I follow. Okay. So, and grip is really useful in terms of kind of swing that you want to bowl, in swing, out swing, or reverse swing. Let's forget reverse swing for now. Let's just talk about normal swings. Okay. The idea is ball moves in the direction of rough side, that is away from the shiny side. So let's assume that this is rough, okay, and this is shiny. So if you want to bowl in swinger, then what do? You keep the rough inside, shiny outside, and then you change you direct the angle of the seam has to be in direction of the swing. Okay, so if you want to build a bowl in swinger, then you have to kind of direct the ball towards leg slip and keep the rough side inside and shiny side outside. If you want to ball out swinger, it's the exact opposite. Rough side outside, shiny side inside, and the seam has to be in direction of first or second slip, depending on what you want to roll. Now you can actually you can change the direction of this. You can basically change the angle of the seam, or what that is one thing that I used to do. And the other thing sometimes I used to do was cork the hand. So I used to hold the ball naturally, but I used to cork it. So if I'm bowling in swinger, the same thing. With the shiny side, it has to be outside, but my hand used to be cocked such that I'm holding when I'm holding it straight, the ball the angle is uh, straight. But I kind of move I kind of cock my hand so that the seam goes inside. Okay, sometimes it used to give me a greater control um, over how much I want to swing, but you can choose either. Uh, One thing that sometimes we used to work was rolling the fingers, um, but basically giving it a backspin. Uh, so if there is an ideal pace at which you should bowl to generate a swing. If your bowling pace is slightly faster, then you need to actually create a little bit backspin, or at least that's what I think you should. Uh, but don't try to roll it too much, otherwise it just you lose control over the ball. And uh, if you think that you don't get the concept of backspin, then don't even try it. Just make sure that uh, your action. If you're a front on bowler, then try to stick to in swingers more, and just hold the grip properly and try to angle it accordingly, according to the shiny side and rough side, shiny side outside and rough side inside. Okay, and direction towards leg slip. So that's about swing. Cutters, okay. So there are advanced techniques to actually bowl cutters. I have a very simple technique, okay. What I do is I just use the same concept of swing, but I just uh, I try to bowl cutters swing when I'm not getting a swing, or the ball is a little bit old, then wherein that you won't generate swings. Okay, I don't actually know how to reverse swing. It used to reverse. I used to do reverse swings, but it was without my intention. It just used to happen. Okay, basically reverse swing is you bowl, the ball goes straight, but it swings really late. So but I don't have control over it, honestly. I know how to do an in swing and a little bit of out swing. Okay, my I mean, in swing is my favorite weapon. If I'm unsure of a batsman, or if I think that is a really good batsman, I go back to my swing and line and length. That's it. Okay. Um, uh, but cutter, yeah. So what you do in cutter is or at least what I do is when you're holding the ball, you basically try to do the same concept of direction of of the seam, but you try to press one finger uh, harder and the other finger a little bit loose. Keep it slightly loose. So that used to be sometimes cut the ball. Cut is basically it will go straight, it will bounce, and it will kind of change direction. Okay. A lot of bowlers actually, spin the ball using their index finger or something, or little finger. I don't know how to do that. My action didn't allow me to do that, or it might have. I just didn't, you know, do that. I didn't go. I didn't actually bother to learn it. So uh, again, uh, my strategy only works if you're trying to conserve runs and you're not trying to outwit the batsman. You're trying to let the batsman play. If he's going to be a conservative batsman, and who just focuses on correct technique and everything like Dravid, I will never be able to get him out. Okay. If someone is like really wants to is in hurry and wants to get runs, which usually people do in 10 over matches, um, then your chances of getting wickets improves exponentially, because they want to score runs and your focus is on saving runs. So um, yeah, but if you stick to certain kind of bowling, right, you have to anticipate good batsmen hitting you, and you just have to take it graciously. Uh, don't try to change your strategy too much, because uh, it might just backfire on you, and don't panic. Okay, identify that there are good batsmen who are going to hit you. Okay, um, so one thing apart from swing and length and everything, uh, you need to find out what kind of a batsman you're facing. If it's an amateur batsman, almost every amateur batsman has a certain style of playing, and they have certain weakness. You just need to identify it. Uh, there are few categories of what I would call not so ideal batsmen. Uh, like there is one batsman who like to just hit on the leg, so but they have free flowing action. Okay, so their bat kind of when it starts, it kind of it's in direction of leg. Okay, for that kind of a batsman, it used to be, I mean, I used to try to bowl slightly on the offside. Same used to apply on the kind of batsman that always used to try to sweep the ball. Okay, so bowling them slightly on the offside actually goes against them, against their batting style, and they either used to miss the ball or get an edge or something. Uh, yeah, it might not be true if the batsman has a good footwork, but again, we are talking about amateur batsmen, and a lot of them actually don't have good footwork. Okay, so then consider a batsman who is more inclined to playing on the off. Okay, uh, so again, there are people who actually love hitting inside out. Uh, those kind of batsmen actually, I usually have tough time bowling, but if I identify that if it's an inside out batsman, who can actually hit me over the covers, then I used to either keep a fielder there, uh, or I used to try bowling him a bouncer in once in a while. Forget good length. I used to bowl good length, but I used to try changing pace, or actually changing pace for a batsman who likes to hit outside helps a lot. You just roll the ball, you roll the fingers. Okay. Other way to actually decrease pace is try to hold it rather than on the seam. You try to hold it, a little wide grip. Something like this. Okay. So, yeah, and the tip is if the ball is swinging too much and you don't want to swing, right? You try to hold the ball like this, okay? So, or sometimes if it's in totally open area and I don't know what kind of swing I would probably get, I used to hold it like this. Or if the batsman is hitting me, and if he's identified that I'm an in-swinger bowler, right, and if he's prepared to actually hit me that way, right, then yeah, then you need to kind of change your, you know, don't bowl in-swinger. That's the whole idea. If your batsman has already figured you out, right, uh, a good idea is identify that batsman, how he's kind of batting, uh, hopefully in the previous over. Uh, if the batsman is ready, if his footwork is ready, according to a ball, it means that he's a really smart batsman, and he's anticipating how the bowler is going to bowl. In that case, you just cannot stick to your normal strategy. You just have to do something different, but not too different. Yeah. So changing the seam direction actually sometimes helps. It the batsman is anticipating an in swinger, but you just bowl straight. It doesn't swing at all. Okay. Uh, then there are, okay, I was talking about inside out kind of batsmen. Then there are batsmen who actually love hitting on back foot. So inside out batsmen are usually batsmen who actually go and hit on front foot, right? Then there are batsmen who hit on back foot. Again, this is a very generalization and it only applies to amateur batsmen, not to professional batsmen. I mean, if there is a professional batsman, he's going to figure you out and hit you anyway, or hit me anyway. So when a person who, if he likes to hit more on back foot and to be off, my kind of bowling, I used to love keeping gully for them. Okay, uh, that used to somehow uh, make them not actually hit on go in the back foot. I don't know why. People, if you keep gully, it's kind of an awkward place for a batsman because they if they hit the ball and if they don't follow through it properly, right? Then it's kind of going to go towards gully, and they just fear, or a lot of, I found that a lot of them just used to fear that it might be a catch, so they used to just try doing something, go against their batting style. Uh, Again, I never used to. The only thing that I used to make sure to outwit a batsman is in fielding placement. While bowling, I never used to try to outwit the batsman. I used to stick to my strategy. Okay, other than a very good batsman who knows how to play my ball. Okay, in which I told you, right? Try to ball him short. Try to bowl him slower. Ball him at a right pace. Um, well, the other thing that, yeah, if the batsman has an orthodox kind of a stance, if he's holding the bat weirdly, uh, just bowl him in middle, and just uh, bowl him a slightly slower ball. Give him a first ball, good length, and then on using the off theory, slightly offside, and then bowl him a slower Yorker or a full trot. Try to bowl him Yorker if you can bowl him Yorker. It will, if you cannot, if it does not turn out to be Yorker, it will go full toss. But if they have an orthodox style of bowling, it's just it's a good idea to take a chance that they will they might miss and you'll get a bowl. Okay, so well, these are general tips that I usually go through. Yeah, I tried. There are ways I try to mix my bowling. Yeah. The idea is sometimes bowling a good length and then a full toss, or good length and then a bouncer, uh, or slower and then good length at the regular pace, then good length at a faster pace, and then slower. So mixing this up sometimes helps, just but you have to three out or four out of those four balls you have to stick to what you're good at. So I used to stick to my line length and then swingers. Okay, that was what I was good at. I wish I was really good at outswingers because then I would have more probably got much more wickets. But in swingers is also nice. It's at least for amateur people it just helps. Anyways, thanks.